we have two actually like good news stories. There's one in Spain and one in Western Canada. Ali, take us through what happened in Spain, why it's significant.
Yeah, actually, this relates to several EU countries, but we'll start in Spain, where there was a very recent announcement by the Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. Let's listen to a few seconds of that.
España ha decidido dar un paso más y poner en marcha de forma inmediata 9 acciones adicionales para detener el genocidio en Gaza, para perseguir a sus ejecutores y para apoyar a la población palestina.
So
9
what?
acciones que me gustaría compartir con todos.
Yeah. So what the Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez is announcing there is 9 additional measures to be taken by Spain to stop the genocide in Gaza. Those are his words. You could hear them there in Spanish, if you could understand it, to prosecute its perpetrators and to support the Palestinian people. And this includes legally consolidating, he says, urgent approval of a royal decree law that legally consolidates the arms embargo on Israel that has been in place since October 2023, establishing a legal and permanent ban on the purchase and sale of arms, ammunition, and military equipment to that country, a ban on transit through Spanish ports for all ships carrying fuel for the Israeli armed forces, denial of entry into Spanish airspace of all state aircraft transporting defense material destined for Israel, a ban on access to Spanish territory for all persons directly involved in the genocide, human rights violations, and war crimes in Gaza. And so those are all, good things, definitely a good start. But this is very significant too. A ban on the import of products from illegal settlements in Gaza and the West Bank with the aim of combating these occupations, stopping the forced displacement of Palestinian civilians, and keeping the two-state solution alive. He also announces some additional aid for Palestinians. But on that settlement ban, it's interesting that Ireland, which should have taken the lead on this with its occupied territories bill, still has not implemented this, and Spain has now come out ahead of it. I did try to look for any small print. I couldn't find it. I was even digging through the Spanish government's official gazette to see if I could find anything, and I haven't yet, to see, number one, when this ban on settlement goods would begin, how it will be enforced, whether it includes services as well as goods. We've learned with announcements from all these governments, you really have to read the small print, but
Yeah.
this is definitely a step in the right direction. And um, as you can imagine, Israel is not happy. So we can see a headline here from the Times of Israel that Spain recalled its ambassador from Israel in the last few days after the Israeli foreign minister accused Madrid of anti-Semitism, because it's officially declaring, and that is significant, that Spain now, like Ireland, is officially declaring this a genocide. Um, and but the Israeli abuse and predictable reaction does not seem to be deterring others from following suit. So the news broke today that the government in the Netherlands, which is a caretaker government because the cabinet has collapsed, but nonetheless, it will, as this report shows, will introduce a national import ban on goods from illegal Israeli settlements in occupied Palestinian territory as soon as possible. Caretaker Prime Minister David Van Veel, caretaker Minister of Foreign Affairs David Van Veel, said in a parliamentary debate on Wednesday. And last week, Belgium made a similar announcement. It announced 12 specific sanctions that it will impose on Israel. And Foreign Minister of Belgium, Maxime Prévost, said that this will include a ban on the import of products from illegal Israeli settlements and a review of public procurement policies with Israeli companies, which is also very significant because several Israeli or Israeli-linked firms have had significant roles in European infrastructure projects over the years. So this all goes to show that these are all governments that supported the genocide. These are all governments that came out after October 7th and fully adopted Israel's atrocity propaganda narrative and supported its attack on Gaza as so-called self-defense. So the fact that they're moving in this direction, and recall the discussion we had with Craig Mukhaiber earlier, is, I think, due to the pressure from their populations, and that has to continue. A ban on settlement goods should have been done decades ago, and it needs to include services. And really, what's the logic? Looking at this not as Ali Abunimah, but as the EU. The EU has basically banned all trade with Russia, saying that that's necessary to stop the war in Ukraine. Well, why doesn't the same logic apply to Israel? If you have to stop all trade with Russia, all transport links with Russia, all banking relationships with Russia, because any such commerce helps Russia prosecute its war with Ukraine, that's the EU's argument, then why doesn't the same logic apply to Israel? And therefore, European publics in all these countries should be demanding a total ban on trade and transportation links to Israel. And not just the passage of Israeli military or transport or government aircraft through European airspace, but all Israeli aircraft, because we know that Israel uses commercial passenger aircraft to carry weapons through the airspace of these countries. There was a report from The Ditch, the Irish publication, a few weeks ago, about weapons parts even being carried for Israel aboard Aer Lingus flights, which is absolutely astonishing, and as well, of course, as Israel using its own national airlines for these purposes. So this is all a good start, but much more, and full credit to European people, not their governments. Keep up the pressure, but it's great to see that pressure starting to pay off. Don't let up. Don't be satisfied with this.
Yeah. And here in the belly of the beast, the Palestinian youth movement, which has spearheaded the Mask Off Merce campaign last year, just announced a new campaign focusing on weapon shipments to Israel through Oakland International Airport, my local airport here in the Bay Area. And so we're all, I think, through FedEx planes. And so we're going to be speaking with some of the researchers of that campaign coming up in the next few weeks. It's so integrated into Europe and the United States and Canada's economic matrix. And people are exposing these links, and they are trying to stop it in whatever ways they can.